All right, well, we are officially below the dam now. And if you can hear in the distance there, it sounds like a couple hundred wood frog singing away. So we're gonna cut on through the woods here until we reach Route 22. I'll give you some views of Canoe Creek as it exits Canoe Lake here. All right, well, if you can hear me over possibly one of the most ear-piercing noises I've ever heard coming from nature, those are wood frogs behind me doing their little mating call for the spring. Behind me stands what is known as a bat condo, and there is some signage telling you about this, but one of the most interesting things that I read is this was the first bat condo built in Pennsylvania, and this is a little bit of foreshadowing since we'll be heading up to the church that you can see there in the distance. Whenever that church gets full, I believe it hosts about 45,000 bats, believe it or not. If it gets full, this little condo here will actually hold up to 6,000. So if you can imagine, there's possibly 6,000 bats in there right now, which is kind of mind-blowing. So it does say here, the life cycle of a bat, January and February they hibernate, and then March and April they start to emerge. And it is late March right now, so maybe I'll stop back down and see if they're flying out tonight. But yeah, nice view here of the bat condo, and like I said, a little bit of foreshadowing since we're heading up to the bat mansion next. So kind of funny, you know. Well, last stop for the day. As you can see, we made it to what I believe is called the old Canoe Creek Cemetery here. Fairly new cemetery, as you can see. I think there are a couple graves here from back in the 1800s. Don't really have any stories or anything, but figured I would take you through here. This is state park owned, and you can see some veterans here, symbolized by the little pennants in front of the graves. Get some 1920s here. I'm guessing at the top of the hill, the older the graves get. And if we look to the left there, that is the old church that is now what I'm calling the Bat Mansion. We saw the Bat Condo, and there's a good look at the Bat Mansion. So we'll go through here and I'll show you some of the graves, and if I find anything interesting, I'll let you know. Okay, well, I made it to the top of the hill here, as you can see. Pretty awesome views. who wouldn't want to be buried up here? But as you can see, really no rhyme or reason to how the gravestones are laid out. These ones are fairly new, and then over to the left you have this guy, barely visible anymore. It looks like Frank Myers, 1864 to 1910. And then some of these smaller outline graves, like this one, a lot of times those will be like child burials. Got this one as well. It looks like the tree line has kind of fallen down on a few of these graves, as you can see. Then over to my left, there are a lot of World War II veterans, but this is actually a World War I veteran, as you can see, private. Lived to the age of, or lived to 1965, so. And then another World War II sergeant here. So yeah, we're gonna make our way down, and I'll show you anything else interesting I find. Here's a Civil War veteran, 1837 to 1916. A very old grave marker right next to it. Well, here's one of the oldest that I stumbled across. You can barely read it. It looks like Lois, I can't read the last name, but John W. Neal died in 1895. So yeah, this is the first gravestone that I found from the 1800s here. Might be the oldest. Alrighty folks, well, we are gonna move onward from the cemetery and talk a little bit about the Bat Mansion, as I'm calling it, an old converted church. And as you can see, some work is going on here. They got a JLG out here putting on a new roof for these guys, which I think is pretty funny and pretty cool at the same time that you know, bats are basically getting their house renovated here. So there are signs up here that say bat viewing area, so if you do want to come here and watch the bats, they advise you to not stay in the cemetery, probably due to respecting the gravestones and whatnot, and to come over to this area and watch them as they leave at night. So that other sign did say March is when they start emerging from hibernation, looking for bugs and whatnot. So who knows, maybe I'll stop down here today and see what I can see. So anyway, the little bat condo that we've seen over the hill down there hosted, I think I said 6,000 different bats in that little condo. This one, if I remember right, the church can hold up to 45,000 different bats, which is kind of mind-boggling. So there are two main species of bats that roost up here. The most notable is the brown bat, and the other is the Indiana bat, an endangered bat that I honestly had no idea existed until I came to Canoe Creek. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up the video here. Another nice look at the Bat Mansion. So this was State Park number 24. We're gonna wrap things up here and head on down to State Park number 25. But if you're new here, maybe if you learned something, please consider giving me a subscribe. It helps out a lot. Like the video, leave me a comment, tell me your favorite state park, where I should head to next. Maybe you know something about these bats that I didn't mention. But yeah, and if you get bored, check me out over on Instagram and Facebook as well at Maksim Outdoors. All right guys, well, we climbed the mountain today, checked out a lake, and now we're at a cemetery and church. So you never know where Maksim Outdoors is going to take you next. I'll see you next week from all new state park. Well, sorry for the video quality here, but I've been kind of following this guy around the lake all day. He might be the most antisocial bird I've ever ran into, but this is none other than a trumpeter swan. Figured I'm probably not going to see another one of these this year. He's probably migrating on through. And in case you were wondering how I was able to tell if it was a trumpeter swan versus a different swan, trumpeter swans have all black beaks. It's probably really hard for you guys to see it on this video, but I was able to see it much better through my binoculars. So, new species ID. Sorry it's so far away, but there you have it. A pretty large trumpeter swan here swimming around in Canoe Lake. So